and welcome. My name is Menachem Creditor. It's my privilege to serve as scholar in residence and rabbi for UJA Federation of New York. We bring you Torah and music, blessing, and community every weekday. We've been doing so since March 18th, 2020. Today, it is Thursday, November 2nd, 2023. I just returned from Israel, and I'll be speaking about that mission in just a moment. But let us celebrate what it is to create a community like this, to create it every day, to show up every day, to know that the power of our community is day by day building it together. There are people here on Facebook, there are people here on Instagram, including my beautiful son Moshe. Hi Moshe, nice to see you. And Tracy is here, and Serena's here. Isabel, good to see you. On Facebook, good morning. Deanne and Valerie, Deborah and Jacqueline, Erica and Judy, good to see you. Debbie and Lydia, Boker Tov. Good to see everyone. I hope that you are safe and well. Let's take a breath. It's so good to see all of you here. Maheen, welcome, welcome. And Julianne, Diane, good to see you too. All right, let's take a breath, sing a blessing, learn some Torah, and do our part in building Am Yisrael. All right, friends, good morning. I want to offer today's moment, today's conversation, today's Torah, in honor of those rabbis and Jewish leaders who joined me in Israel on a mission that just returned earlier this morning. It is a mission unlike any other that I've ever been in, because there has never been a moment like this in Israel's history. Not since the Shoah have we faced such pain. And what is important for us to do is make sure to name it, not to duck it, to face it honestly, and to know that there is a kindred spirit between all Jews all around the world. Our homeland is a reflection of our heart. It was always meant to be that. And it is true today that that is the case. And so one of the things that I want to lift up is based in this week's Parsha, but truly it really lives in this moment of our history. And you and I are part of doing the great building here. I hope, friends, that you are paying very close attention to what's happening, that you're tuning in, especially to the Times of Israel, where I receive so much important information on their podcasts and with their very, very careful reporting. Also, thank God for all the work that UJA does in the world to supporting our brothers and sisters every single day. There's no question that our emergency campaign that has raised so much money, because our hearts are open so wide to our people's plight. We have raised over $130 million, and more than $40 million has already been distributed on the ground in Israel. And the work that so many are doing, including my amazing wife, Neshama, donating her time and skills in generating concerts to raise spirits and funds for our work. All I want to say is there's an infinite number of ways to love. And I hope that you will continue offering your love to our people through the work that we do as UJA Federation New York. I just returned. and it is so important to bear testimony. It's also important to make sure that you understand the resilience of our souls is unbelievable. To be with sisters and brothers in Israel who were so overwhelmingly grateful that we showed up, more than I've ever experienced before, tells you that just as in this parsha, when God shows up to visit Avram in a moment of his own healing after circumcision, not saying anything, just showing up, Avram received it and Hashem provided it, and there were no words. It was just presence. And immediately after that, Avram, in his own woundedness, jumped up to show that Jewish values are in him and through him, because 3 angels showed up, and Avram doesn't know that they're angels at that point, and he runs to them to greet them, and he's not feeling strong, but he shows up. That tells us a whole lot about who we are. And yes, this week, Parshat Vayera is also inclusive of the hardest moment in the entire Torah, the sacrifice of Isaac, the almost sacrifice of Isaac. We have to understand that there are lessons to be learned from our past. And Israel, when, please God, we emerge from this war, will certainly engage in very, very significant investigations. How did this happen? I'm not going to be the expert on that. That's not what I'm here for. I'm here to represent our people's heart. And UJA is here to strengthen it. So I invite you to be part of this conversation, knowing that Torah is our grounding, but our people is the text. I saw unbelievable things. I'm wearing a bracelet from a beautiful organization called Brothers for Life, Achim L'Chaim. It takes care of women and men who have been wounded in service and in defense of the state of Israel. And the way that they do it is incredibly holy. People who have been wounded and thank God have healed show up for people who have had similar wounds. We can only be part of the healing if we feel kindred pain. What Yossi Klein Halevi calls elsewhere partners in anguish. We are family. We are here to say that we see the shining spirit of Israel, the powerful love for parents like Rachel and Jonathan. If you haven't heard them champion the dignity and freedom of their son Hirsch, who's being held hostage, please look them up. Go to Bring Hirsch Home on Facebook. We hosted them at UJA, and we amplified their work in the UN, and we brought them to our rabbis in Israel. We sang with them. We prayed with them. I sat right next to Rachel. We all sang Achenu, Kol Beit Yisrael. We are all sisters and brothers. So yes, we are wounded. And yes, this is a moment of deep trauma, and the fighting is fierce in Gaza right now. And the fighting against the world's shifting opinion, and the recognition that we have to be human as we fight, and how impossible that is given the inhuman enemy that is Hamas, not the Palestinians, Hamas. And how Hamas uses human shields. They effectively use it. Look at what we have to learn from this parsha. We don't sacrifice children. We don't sacrifice anyone's children. But that also means we can't sacrifice our children. We have to be mindful, friends. The kind of work that we are doing right now, and I don't only mean UJA, but yes, I absolutely mean UJA, is the reason that Achim L'Chaim, this incredible place for the rehabilitation and life-giving energy for soldiers who have been hurt, is because UJA always has funded Achim L'Chaim. And they are usually taking care of a few hundred soldiers. They are preparing to take care of more than 1,000, 2,000 more soldiers. And they don't have the capacity. And they are working hard, and we gave them emergency grant funding. But we always fund them. We are always family, not only in reaction. There's also a beautiful organization that we have always supported called Shalva. I posted pictures on my personal Facebook and Instagram of that. It's a place that brings love and dignity to children with special needs and their families. We have always funded them. And we gave them a $100,000 emergency grant because they have already taken in 2,000 people giving them home, including young girls at risk for lots of reasons. They're at risk. They have an entire wing of one of the buildings protected. Now, it was an incredible, humbling privilege to be present as one of the rabbis of New York. Incredibly, overwhelmingly humbling to be the rabbi of UJA in these moments, to see our work. But I want to remind you, we do this work every day, and that's why we can show up in this way. We are doing holy things with our holy family, meeting with families who don't know where their children are, families who have multiple children fighting right now. I met with a glorious religious leader in Jerusalem whose husband is fighting in the north and whose daughter is fighting in the south. This is Am Yisrael Chai, because we are alive. We are present. We are pulsing. Yes, we are wounded, but the resilience and strength and courage of our sisters and brothers in Israel, and the courage we need to show them too. So I hope that the next possible time that you have to go to Israel, safely and mindfully, of course, you will do so. If there is a mission in your community, you will support them. If your rabbi is wavering about going because there will be some communal concern or pushback, I hope you will champion Israel for the sake of your clergy, championing our people. I know that the situation is complicated. It's not going to get less complicated. I know world opinion has shifted. It's not going to shift back. The sympathy for our 1,400 sisters and brothers, Jewish and not, who were murdered in cold blood in ways I will not say out loud on these broadcasts. But the knowledge of it and the imagery of it has scarred my soul. The world won't remain scarred because somehow all of the universal concerns that the world has for every vulnerable population seems to have a time limit when it comes to Jews. And that means that for the Jewish heart, we have to have Jewish minds and long-term memory. You know when that became clearest to me? When I was privileged to sit right next to Rena Quint, a Shoah survivor, who shared with passion and energy like you wouldn't believe her family's story, and she talked about new survivors in Israel's south. A Shoah survivor talked about the new survivors. We have new survivors, friends, new testimony, new witnessing we need to do. So strengthen your hearts. Give yourself the gift of Torah and music and community. Keep coming here. Go to physical Jewish communities wherever you can. Make friends beyond the Jewish world, because we need those friends too. And recognize that when we talk about bring them home, all of the hostages, you have to know there are 9 Muslims being held hostage by Hamas. There are multiple Christians, I don't know the number, being held by Hamas. Citizens of 33 countries are being held hostage by Hamas. That seems to be obscured in the way the world is seeing the humanitarian crisis that Hamas created. Israel has to continue acting in a human way as it fights for our lives. That is what we are doing. And you and I have the chance to wear in one way or another signs of solidarity. This necklace was made for me by my wife, holding my family's names on it. I wear it every day. This says, Halev shalanu shavui ba'aza. Our heart is captive in Aza. And in English it says, bring them home now. So I'm going to say that again. Bring them home now. I just returned from Israel, but part of me is still there. And if I'm not there, I had better be fighting for her. Fighting for my sister and her family in Tel Aviv. Fighting for brothers and sisters I have never met. Remembering people like Lavi Lipschitz, a young man whose military funeral I attended on Har Herzl just yesterday. The military cemetery was populated by thousands and thousands of people, many of whom do not know the people whose funerals they are attending. Some people are only going to funerals, multiple funerals a day. There weren't enough people to dig the graves. That's the moment we are still in. To say the aftermath, we're not there yet. To say since then we have is too neat. We are still in it. But in the middle of this all, I celebrated my son's bar mitzvah with my family, and we had joy. In the middle of it all, I know a soldier named Yonatan who I met. Beautiful young man. Looked just like my son. And he was scheduled to get married just a week ago. And his brother is a hostage in Gaza. So he wasn't sure, should we call off the wedding? And his father and his future in-laws, they said, no, you're getting married. And then he went back to fight. He came to us just to talk to us, to be with his father and his sister and his mother, and then he talked to us. I had the privilege of hearing from a modern-day Moses, a modern-day Miriam, a modern-day hero. And we were asking questions, a few questions, and his response was so important for me to amplify. This is my part. You do your part, I'll do my part. And he didn't even have to go back, because the rule right now in Israel is if you have a relative who's being held hostage, you don't have to go fight. But he went to fight. He stayed for a few questions, said, I have to go back. He's responsible for soldiers. He has to go back. That is Am Yisrael Chai. So, friends, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to pick up my guitar and sing. I'm going to take a little bit of time today to recover from what was the hardest trip I have ever had and the most important visit to Israel I will ever have. I will begin planning my next trip to Israel right now. But I invite you to sing with me and to amplify this spirit and send it east. As soon as you can, send yourself east. Go. That's our part. Write to your elected officials every day in what we're calling a mosquito campaign. A mosquito just keeps on biting and biting until you notice it. That is what the families of the hostages have asked us to do. Create a mosquito campaign. Give yourself 5 minutes in the morning when you're having coffee or tea or whatever you're doing for your morning ritual, and call your elected officials, and you say today is day 27. What the hell? That's exactly what Hirsch's mother, Rachel, asked us to say. Choose 3 elected officials and call them every day, because today is day 27. So for our sisters and brothers, whose hearts we wear on our sleeves, and whose souls we see, and whose lives matter, to our entire homeland, who is going to act in strong, healing ways and hold each other up. To you, friends, to you, strength. At Achim L'Chaim, this bracelet I'm wearing, there's a young man named Chaim, and he hadn't picked up a guitar in a while, and for us, he picked up a guitar. And he actually played a song written by my father-in-law. Beautiful song. And then I went and told him that the song meant a lot to me, and I sang one of my songs, and we sat singing for a little while. That's what our family needs. Sing, friends, sing. This is what I sang him about strength. Ozi v'zimrat yah. We're going to sing this then end with a tikva. Ozi v'zimrat yah, yehi li shua. friends, send your heart to the east with me. Sing Hatikva. There's a flag on your screen. Flag right here. That's our people we're holding. Kolon balevav penima nefesh Yehudi homia ulfatei mizrach kadima ayin letzion Sophia. Od lo avda tikvateinu, hatikva bat shnot alpayim, liot am chofshi be'artzeinu, Eretz Zion Yerushalayim, liot am chofshi be'artzeinu, Eretz Zion Yerushalayim. Am Yisrael Chai. See you tomorrow, friends.